I love Little Nightmares as a franchise. It just has such an intriguing and strange world, such grotesque and interesting characters, and just all-round amazing aesthetic. I also believe the first two games are genuinely both masterpieces that I've played countless times. So when Little Nightmares 3 got announced, I was obviously beyond excited. Until I heard it was not being made by Tarsier Studios, who were behind the last two games, and instead it was being made by Supermassive Games and published by Bandai Namco, who own the IP for Little Nightmares. And being honest, that made my hype for this game wither by quite a lot. And not because I don't like Supermassive Games, they've made one of the best horror games of all time, that being Until Dawn. My worry was more with the fact I didn't have faith they would get Little Nightmares and everything that made it great. But the main selling point of the game is that it was going to have co-op, which is quite exciting for a game like this. So while watching the first trailer, I was excited, but this is where I also saw my worries grow, and there are a few reasons for that. The first is the character designs of who you play as in Little Nightmares 3. In my opinion, they just have way too much personality, which might sound like a good thing, but I don't think that fits with the world of Little Nightmares. A big part of the first two games is that you don't really feel like the main character in this world. You're just a small part of it, trying your best to survive through all the trials and tribulations you have to go through and all the creepy things that try and kill you. Another thing I didn't like in the trailer was how bright some of the scenes were, with like a bright orange, almost desert sort of look in the background. And obviously this might just be one set piece with different lighting for some variety in the game, so it's not all darkness, but I still believe the Little Nightmares franchise always works best when in the dark. My final complaint with the trailer was that the new characters seem to have equipment or like abilities that they could use, similar to in the game It Takes Two, where both characters are given a different ability and you must use them in tandem with one another to complete sequences and puzzles. And again, I'm not a huge fan of this decision. I know it's there to give the gameplay more layers and more depth, but I don't think the game needs that. You saw in the first two games how well the game worked with just its basic movement controls, so I think adding more to that is more of a negative than a positive. At the end of the day, none of these complaints mean much in the grand scheme of things, because nothing I've mentioned would stop the game from being good or even a masterpiece, and I truly still hope it is, because I love the franchise so much, and I hope I'm wrong about a lot of these things and the game works and flows perfectly. So I really hope I'm wrong, and I hope this game is great. However, a year after this announcement, it was revealed that Tarsier Studios have been working on a game very similar to their own Little Nightmares called Reanimal. And when the first trailer for that game released, oh my god, I need it. It looked amazing, with an atmosphere that looked even better to that of Little Nightmares. It also featured characters that looked like blank slates, which is exactly what I wanted from Little Nightmares 3. And on top of all of that, not only did it still have the co-op that Little Nightmares 3 would have, it looked fucking scary. And not just creepy, like actually fear scary. And this instantly rocketed the game to near the top of my Steam wishlist. This game looked amazing. And again, this is not me claiming Reanimal is the best thing ever and Little Nightmares 3 is the worst thing ever. Both these games have very high chance to both be great or both be really bad even. I think the latter is probably more likely, and I hope they're both great. But me personally, I think I'm a bit more excited for Reanimal from what I've seen from both. But again, neither game has released yet, and we don't know what will be good and what will be bad, or what works in one and doesn't work in the other. So while I'm being quite critical of Little Nightmares 3, I am honestly still excited for both, and I can't wait to see what they do, because worst case scenario, they're both going to be entertaining as fuck.